Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so we are jumping right into a really fascinating document today by Andrew Gard, and it's called What Are You Really Looking For? Now, whether you consider yourself a deeply spiritual person or if you are someone who literally never thinks about religion, I promise you're going to find something incredibly relevant here. Gard uses the Gospel of John, but not as some heavy-handed rulebook. Instead, he uses it as a lens to ask some profoundly human questions about our world today. We're talking about our disillusionment with modern institutions, our anxieties about leadership, technology, power, and that constant underlying search for meaning that we all feel. So let's explore together how this ancient text speaks directly to the very real systemic restlessness so many of us are dealing with right now. Gard doesn't kick things off with a dense academic lecture or a rigid theological debate. Instead, he starts with a profoundly introspective question. What is it that you are ultimately chasing in life? Like, really, take a second and think about it. Are you after happiness, meaning, love, fairness? Or, honestly, maybe your most genuine answer right now is just, I'm not sure. And you know what? For so many people today, that I'm not sure is actually a byproduct of losing trust in the very systems and institutions that used to give us a sense of meaning. Gard suggests that admitting this uncertainty might just be the most authentic starting point you can have for this journey. In the Gospel of John, Jesus actually starts a lot of his interactions exactly like this, by asking people what they truly want. It's a question that demands we hit pause on our busy lives and just sit with our own desires. I love that Gard explicitly frames this entire exploration as a quiet conversation. This is absolutely crucial to understanding what he's trying to achieve here. It's not an argument. It's not a loud, pushy sermon. It is a gentle invitation to just be honest about our deepest desires. By doing this, the document inherently honors your human dignity. It treats you as an equal conversation partner, not a target to be won over. He's creating a safe, totally pressure-free space to examine our lives. And that makes these concepts so accessible, even for folks who might be highly skeptical of traditional religious institutions. So, to get to the root of our desires, the document asks us to look at what we've already tried. Because, let's face it, we all attempt to fill this foundational human void with everyday pursuits. We chase money, hoping it's going to bring us security. We pour our absolute everything into relationships. But it goes way beyond just the personal stuff, right? We also look to political power, or technological advancements, or influential leaders to fix our deeper societal anxieties. We hope they can finally bring fairness and trust back into the world. But Gard asks a really piercing question here. Has it been enough? Can one human relationship or one supposedly perfect political system really carry the immense weight of everything you need from it? He makes a really compelling comparison here between our infinite demands and our finite pursuits. Think about it. Can a new smartphone actually cure modern loneliness? Can climbing the corporate ladder really bring you ultimate fairness or inner peace? Our human demands for love, meaning, and security are seemingly endless. Yet the things we usually pursue to get them, they're finite. They eventually fade. Industries collapse. Leaders let us down. And the finish line for our achievements just keeps moving, matching the relentless, exhausting pace of our modern technological age. If life is only about reaching the next milestone, we are basically setting ourselves up for a cycle of temporary satisfaction followed by inevitable disappointment. To capture this cycle, the document points to a striking claim from the Gospel of John, where Jesus says, "Everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again." Now think about how perfectly that maps onto the modern endless scroll. Our current systems of technology and consumerism are literally designed to keep us thirsty, which makes this ancient metaphor incredibly relevant to our digital habits today. Relying exclusively on earthly things, no matter how good they might be, is like drinking water that inevitably leaves you parched the next day. The document is asking us to recognize that trying to satisfy an infinite longing with finite things is, well, it's a mathematical impossibility. And that leads us to a massive perspective shift. What if that constant nagging restlessness we feel, that sneaky suspicion that nothing really does fully satisfy us, what if that isn't a glitch in our human operating system? What if it's not a mistake that you still feel unfulfilled despite having a good job, the latest tech, or a nice family? Gard proposes something fascinating here. He suggests that this restlessness is actually a crucial signal. It's not a malfunction at all. It's a profound clue about what we were fundamentally made for. The logical conclusion is kind of a light bulb moment. If finite things always leave us thirsty, we must be built for something infinite. Gard proposes that our infinite longing can only ever be truly satisfied by connecting to an infinite source. The document points to the Gospel of John's assertion that this isn't just some abstract philosophical idea you ponder in a classroom. It's a reality offered by a God who comes close. It bridges that massive gap between our finite human limitations and our infinite desires. To address this infinite longing, the author turns directly to the teachings of Jesus, specifically quoting John 10:10, "I have come that they may have life and have it to the full." The text makes it very clear that Jesus is not being presented here as someone offering a rigid new religion or just a neat strategy for survival. He is offering abundant, full life. And crucially, this deeper vision of human flourishing is presented as a direct challenge to the systems of exclusion, power hoarding, and unfairness of his day, and honestly, of ours too. It's a vision meant for absolutely everyone, especially those who have been pushed to the margins. The source material then challenges us to examine our foundations. What are you actually building your life on? Because when everything shakes, when those modern anxieties about the future peak, when unstable leadership completely fails us, or when there is just a total lack of societal trust, what actually holds firm? It's a pretty sobering reality check. If your foundation is built on institutions or systems that are guaranteed to change or break, your peace and your joy are always going to be at risk of collapsing. The text beautifully contrasts our modern ideal of extreme self-reliance with a very different concept. Today, self-reliance is so highly admired, right? We love the idea of being completely independent. But let's be real, extreme self-reliance often just fuels the epidemic of modern loneliness. Gard points out that self-reliance works perfectly until your human limits are reached, and that moment always comes for everyone. In contrast, the gospel offers the concept of abiding connectedness. True freedom, in this context, isn't about isolation or pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. It's about belonging. It's about service through being connected to a divine source that doesn't fail when your own strength eventually runs out. Across the text, Jesus is described through these incredibly vibrant metaphors that directly respond to those deep systemic hungers we've been talking about. He is living water for the profound loneliness of the digital age. He is the bread of life for a society starved of real lasting purpose. He is the Word made flesh, bringing absolute dignity back to the human experience. And he is the way, the truth, and the life in an era defined by deep skepticism and fake news. These aren't just poetic titles. They are direct, targeted answers to our modern concerns of feeling lost, empty, or disconnected. You see, in John's Gospel, meaning and truth aren't presented as abstract ideas. They aren't just a set of spiritual principles or moral rules you have to perfectly follow. Fundamentally, meaning is presented as a relationship with a person. Just think about the radical nature of claiming truth is a person, especially for an audience that is highly distrustful of abstract institutional claims. If you are out there searching for truth in a totally confusing world, or searching for a way forward, the document suggests that the answer has a name, and it's found in knowing Christ. And this completely changes how we understand some very traditional terms. The document beautifully redefines eternal life. Normally, we think of eternal life as just a never-ending duration of time, like a stopwatch that just never stops ticking after you die. But Gard highlights that the gospel defines it as the deeply intimate, present-day experience of knowing God personally. It's an incredibly warm, immediate concept. It's not just knowing about him from a distance, but truly knowing him. It's about a relationship that completely transforms the here and now. As we reach the conclusion of Gard's documents, we see the tone remains incredibly consistent. It doesn't suddenly pivot and end with a heavy-handed push for immediate conversion. Instead, it focuses on the theme of true freedom. Because true love and truth, they do not force themselves on anyone. The invitation is simply to come and see. It suggests that maybe, just maybe, what you've been searching for all along isn't a new system or a new political leader or a fleeting feeling, but this relationship. And the door to explore that is left wide open for you to walk through at your own pace. The author deeply, deeply respects wherever the reader might be on their personal journey. He explicitly lists out potential reactions and honors every single one of them. If you say, "I'm curious," the promise is that whoever comes will never go hungry. If you say, "Not for me," or "maybe later," the author says that is completely okay with zero pressure. This profound respect for your journey ties directly back to human dignity. The author honors the dignity of your intellect and your autonomy, which is honestly a really refreshing contrast to the coercive systems of power we usually deal with. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this to consider. Are our modern anxieties about power, technology, and isolation, at their core, simply questions about what it truly means to be human? And if they are, what are you really looking for?